This is for Algebra 1. It is Unit 2B, Test Review, and it's Part 2. So Part 1 had me going over 1 through 11 of the test review, and the second part will have me going over 12 through 21. All of these problems are very similar to 12 through 21 that are on the actual summative exam. I do it in 2 parts because it's easier for the upload and to exist in 2 parts, keeping the videos a little bit on the shorter side. Number 12, what grade do you need on your final exam? So we're looking for the final exam grade. We know we have a 66% at the end of the semester, and our goal is to get at least a 70%. We're also going to use the JT's 80-20, where 80% of our grade is from August to December, all the stuff we do from August to December, and then the 20% of our grade is our final exam. Let's get this written. So we know that 80% of our grade is 66%. We need to add to it 20%, which is our final exam grade that we don't know. So I'm going to let X represent my unknown final exam grade. And our goal is to get at least, so greater than or equal to, a 70%. Now we're going to do some calculator work. So 0.80 times 66 produces 52.8 plus 0.20 times X is greater than or equal to 70. This is now a 2-step inequality that we're going to solve. We move the constant term first. So a positive 52.8 moves with a negative or minus 52.8. Whatever I do to one side of the inequality symbol, I have to do to the other. Left on the left is my 0.20 X. And on the right, calculator work tells me 17.2. We get rid of a coefficient, which is connected to the variable with multiplication, by dividing. So a multiplied 0.20 moves by dividing by 0.20. And I now know X, or X represented my final exam grade, has to be greater than or equal to, and again calculator work, 17.2 divided by 0.20 is 86%. So it looks like my answer is C for this particular problem. My final exam grade has to be 86% or higher, and if it is, yes, earning a C is possible. Number 13 and 14 return to solving literal equations. So I need to solve R equals C times S divided by D, and I'm solving for C. The first thing I need to do is get rid of that D in the denominator. When things are in denominators, they're connected with division, and I move divided by things, whether that thing's a number or a variable, by multiplication. So a divided D moves by multiplying by D. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. My left-hand side, I can write it as dr or rd. Multiplication is commutative, so it doesn't matter which order I put that in. I'm going to re-highlight C. That's what we were asked to solve for. And in order to get C, or isolate C, I need to get rid of a multiplied S. So a multiplied S moves with dividing by s. And c is now by itself, and it equals d times r all over s. Let's put that in the answer spot. Number 14 has us solving for b in the equation that was given to us, which is a equals w plus b divided by 2. Oops, sorry about that. I'm trying to make this a little bit bigger. There we go. Let's highlight b. So there's a couple things I need to get rid of. I need to get rid of the denominator of 2 first, and then the w that is being added. So let's get rid of the denominator of 2 first. So a divided by 2 moves by multiplying by 2. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. 2 times a is expressed 2a, and then w plus b is left on the right-hand side. We're solving for b, so I need to move w. It is connected with addition, so I'm going to look in front of w to determine how to move it. So looking in front of w, it is positive. I move positive terms with, erase that, with negative. So a positive w moves by using a negative w, or minus. And we now know that b equals 2a minus w. Let me write that in the answer line. Just to remind you to make sure to do that on the test. 15 and 16, looks like those are literal equations also. Let's copy down 15. It's ax plus by equals c. You'll eventually learn that this is called the standard form of a linear equation. We're solving for y. So I need to move the ax term first and then the coefficient of b. I look in front of ax to determine how to move it. There's nothing in front of it, so it's an invisible positive. I move positive terms by subtracting or using the negative of that term. So a positive ax moves with a negative or minus ax. Whatever I do to one side, I do the other. by is left on the left, and c minus ax is on the right. Of course, c and ax are not like terms, so I cannot combine them. I can just write them together, making sure c stays positive, and then the ax term is a minus or a negative. We're still solving for y. In order to isolate y, I need to get b out of there. So a multiplied b moves by dividing by b. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. And it looks like y equals c minus ax all over b. Put that in the answer spot. Now 16, when I recopied that, I see parentheses, so I'm going to have to distribute to get those parentheses to leave. After I distribute, I will highlight L, which is what we're solving for. So the P and the equals comes down, 2 goes in, so 2 times L is expressed to L, and 2 times W is expressed to W. We are solving for L, which means I need to move the 2W first, and then the coefficient of 2. So 2W is plus or a positive. I move positive or plus things with negative or minus that particular thing. So a plus 2w moves with a minus 2w. Whatever I do to one side, I need to make sure I do to the other. I'm going to put 2L on the left right now because I prefer eventually to have what I'm solving for on the left. And 2L equals P minus 2W. Still solving for L, so the thing I need to get rid of is that coefficient of 2. It's connected to L with multiplication, so I'm going to move it with division. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. I know L equals P minus 2W all over 2. Number 17. Number 17 is a gridden, and it looks like I'm going to be using velocity equals distance divided by time. So let's read through and see what I have, because I'm going to be able to replace two of those variables with numbers so I can solve for the third unknown variable. An airplane refuels in Los Angeles and continues on to Seattle. It travels an average speed of 550 miles per hour. So speed, we have learned, is also known as velocity, and we'll talk about that in your physics classes sophomore year. We also know that the trip takes 2 hours. So we also know what we can replace t with. And the question is, what is the flight distance? We're looking for d. Let's replace what we know to find what we don't know. So I can replace velocity, or v, with 550. I can replace t with 2. And I'm not sure what the distance is. That's what I'm solving for here, so I'm going to let d still represent the distance. Now I need to solve for d. So the only thing that's connected to d is a divided by 2. So I move a divide 2 by multiplying by 2. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. And I can conclude that the distance is, and calculator work if you need to. 2 times 550 is 1100, and that would be miles because it's distance. So 1100 miles. And this is a gridden, so 1100 is going to take up all 4 spots. And let's bubble in 1, 1. Oh, oopsie daisy. Let me get my eraser. 1, 1, 0, 0. Number 17 here is an application or evaluating a literal equation. So you can expect on the test that number 17, there will be very similar. Okay, number 18, you get a summer job. This is actually an interest equals PRT. And we have earned at our summer job $17.50, which is P. Decided to put in money in a savings account with an interest rate, so we know R, of 2.5%, and move that into decimal, and it's 0.025. My question is how long, so I do not know T. I do, however, know that the interest that was paid onto the account was $218.75. I'm going to get my calculator. 218.75 comes down. calculator work, and I am left with 4375 times t. So to get t by itself, I need to move a multiplied 4375 by dividing by 4375. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. And it looks like I have t equals 5. And when we talk about simple interest problems, the time is expressed in years. Number 19, we're going to use distance equals rate times time. I'm trying to get my eraser. Distance equals rate times time. Let's see what we know. How long were you driving if you traveled 75 miles? So we know the distance. We also know the rate. We're going 25 miles per hour. The question is how long, so we're solving for t. In order to solve for t, I move and multiply 25 by dividing by 25. And I can conclude that the time I spent driving was 3, and it's hours. I know it's hours because my speed was expressed in miles per hour. That's how I knew to use the hour unit. Number 20. You went to Walmart to buy a case of Gatorade. The subtotal was $12.65. We had a coupon for 5% off, and then tax is 8.75%. So I'm going to do this in 2 steps. The first thing I'm going to find out is how much did I save and what was my sale price. So my $12.65 I'm going to save. So I'm going to take away my coupon that was 5%. 5% is expressed as 0.05 in decimal form. And 5% of the $12.65. Calculator time. You can put this in your calculator just how you see it, or you can do it in follow the order of operations, which tells me to do multiplication before subtraction. So it looks like I'm saving 63 cents, and my sale price is going to be $12.02. So that was my discount. Now I need to figure out what the tax is going to be on what I'm paying for this Gatorade, which is $12.02. So tax we add on, and the tax rate is 8.75. When we move the decimal place over 2 places to the left, it's 0.0875, and that gets multiplied by the $12.02. So again, you can put this in your calculator exactly how you see it, or you can follow the order of operations, which is multiplication before addition. And it looks like what we're paying the government, that's where our taxes go, is $1.05. And our total for this purchase is $13.07. So this is 20 is a discount and tax problem. Our last question is a weighted grade problem. What will your report card grade be if you have an 88% at the end of the semester and 65% was your final exam score? We're going to use JTHS's 80-20 breakdown. So 80% of our grade is made up of what the work we do between August and December, and it looks like we got 88% on that. Then we have to add on to that 20% of our final exam grade, which is 65%. And then we're going to go ahead and use the calculator to see exactly what our report card grade will be. So 0.8 times 88 is 70.4. 0.2 times 65 is a nice 13. It looks like 83.4% is going to be our report card grade. And the question, did you receive an A? That would be no, we did not receive an A. So this concludes Unit 2B, Test Review, Part 2, and they're very similar to questions 12 through 21 on the test.